All right, guys, break time's over. Time to get back to work tonight. It's Tuesday evening. It's June the 15th, 2021. My name is Joseph, and as always, welcome back to your nightly newsletter. If you're watching for the first time tonight, it's great to have you with me because my job tonight is to help us find the best trades for tomorrow, not just any Wednesday, FOMC Fed Days trading session. I got a great video in store for you guys and gals tonight. Charts are already in the background, as you can see. S&P's ready, Nasdaq's ready, gold is ready, and boy, oh boy, lots of great trades on my radar for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Fed Day. It's FOMC. That means our window is going to be much smaller tomorrow. That means we're going to be very selective and make sure we are prepared to make sure we don't miss any of those opportunities tomorrow inside that smaller window, because that news is going to be tomorrow afternoon, right? So tomorrow morning, very, very important. By the end of this video tonight, I'm going to make sure you know exactly where my favorite trades are going to be and some of the stuff you want to kind of keep your eyes on to avoid, right? So you'll stay out of trouble tomorrow during that FOMC Fed Day trading session. Got a great video in store for you guys and gals tonight. Lots of stuff on our radar. Before we jump in and get this party started, though, I just want to make sure to remind you, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You know, I publish this video newsletter every evening, Monday through Thursday, with my best trade ideas for the following day. I don't want you to miss tomorrow night's video, so make sure you subscribe. And when you do, hit that little bell icon so you always get notified every time I upload something new. And don't forget, if you guys have any questions for me, I love to answer questions. Drop those questions for me in the comment section. And if you guys like this video, if you enjoy this video as much as I enjoy making it, do me a favor, hit that like button, that thumbs up here for me here on this YouTube channel. Really appreciate you guys tuning in every evening. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up if you guys enjoy it, and drop those questions in the comment section if you got them. But enough of the intro, though. Let's get this party going. As you can see, the timestamp, I'm a bit late here to the video here tonight. Busy day as we get ready for FOMC tomorrow. Charts are all ready here. S&P's ready, Nasdaq's ready, gold's ready. I'm glad to see you are ready right along with us. What are we dealing with here right now? Got kind of a potpourri here tonight, right? Got a range on the S&P. Who could have ever seen this market coming down into a range like that today? All kidding aside, though, we are bearish right into a trading range right now in the S&P. That makes my job pretty easy for tomorrow. I would love to short some pops right on the S&P above that range. I wouldn't mind shorting some drops, right? Getting some nice pendulum swings, right? Wouldn't mind getting short on the breakouts going lower. And of course, you know me, right? I always love reversals, right? Reversals will be great. I wouldn't mind getting a bounce reversal off the low, getting a breakout reversal going higher. So there's lots of great trades we can look forward to tomorrow on the S&P. I'll go into more detail on that here. The Nasdaq, you'll notice they haven't made it back into that range from late last week. That range continues to be a magnet. We're pretty much trending right now on the Nasdaq. Trending markets always tell me, follow the trend, look for entries off the high of a channel. One thing you'll notice in my notes in the chart right now, we'll go into more detail on this in a second here. But one thing, the Nasdaq here, there have been no traps. Right? No traps the whole time down. So all this big move down, right? There's this juicy trap right above this high here. I would love to short some pops. In fact, we really have the pick of the litter. Traps, failures, pullbacks right off of that high. And of course, if we keep on grinding lower, right, looking for traps and things on the move lower here. One thing about the Nasdaq is we didn't go all the way back into that range. And I'll talk about why this is more important tonight, but that definitely kind of leaves the door open for a reversal. So I'll definitely, I love reversals. I just don't trust them, right? So you got to wait for the right reversal clues. We'll talk about how to trade the reversal tomorrow on the Nasdaq as well here. And then the gold, right? Now gold was range bound for most of the day today, right? We talked about that in last night's newsletter. The buyers had everything they needed, right? The buyers kept on buying the dips, and it just rolled over, right? And now that strong move going down here, I'm looking to find some sellers attacking here, right? I want to sell some shorts. I'd love to sell some pops. I'd love to sell it some drop. I'll tell you, there is a ton of open space on gold if we can crack through that area, that 1850 area. So we'll talk about some breakdown trades. We'll definitely talk about some pullback trades here. And obviously, again, we'll talk about reversals, because if there's one market that has big moves ahead of us for tomorrow, it is definitely the gold market, right? With the FOMC announcement tomorrow afternoon. So as you can see, there's a lot to cover here tonight on this video. We're going to dive right in here in a second. Before I jump in, though, as I mentioned before, everybody is watching that FOMC announcement tomorrow, right, as we go into, kind of one of the last days of the week before we have to start worrying about quad witching, right, later on in the week. I'm going to talk about quad witching, not today, but I'll talk about it tomorrow night, because right now we've got our own fish to fry here for that FOMC announcement right here tomorrow. So we'll talk about, because we got some big news coming Thursday and Friday, but let's again, the big thing about tomorrow is the window of opportunity is going to be a lot smaller tomorrow. The announcement isn't until 2 o'clock Eastern time, so you really got to make your money. I'm assuming you're not gambling. Trying to trade the FOMC announcement tomorrow afternoon is a recipe for disaster. Remember, when that market gets whipping, right, off that FOMC announcement, and it usually does really whip, your stops are not going to hold. You can, don't kid yourself, right? You can try using tight stops in a big news environment like that, and your stop will get hit, but you won't get filled at that stop price. So, just be careful, right? Be careful. I don't intend to do any trading. I don't intend to do much trading, if any trading, after lunch on FOMC day. I'll tell you the same thing I tell my clients. Save your bullets, save your risk, save your cash for Thursday, because Thursday is the reaction day, right? The day after a big news report is almost always where you'll find the best opportunities. Instead of trying to get your knuckles all bloodied up, right? Trying to battle that FOMC announcement, make your money tomorrow morning. Enjoy, grab your popcorn if you want to, right? Get around the computer and watch the announcement. But again, unless it's a very mild reaction tomorrow, really got to be careful tomorrow afternoon. So make your money tomorrow morning. And then again, save your bullets in the afternoon. I know it's very tempting, but remember, it's very misleading. The FOMC announcement is very misleading. Save your bullets for reaction Thursday. So tomorrow, we do have news tomorrow at 8:30, but I mean, I'd be very surprised if that news does anything besides, again, the markets are all focused on this FOMC announcement here tomorrow afternoon. What you also want to keep in mind tomorrow is, right, that kind of 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock block, right? That's your best time. Make your money in the morning. And what I always tell people is the markets have already priced in what they anticipate this FOMC announcement to be tomorrow, right? Tomorrow morning is going to be all about price action, all about catching traders on the wrong side, fading break. You know what I mean? Chances are you're not going to see a lot of big developing ideas tomorrow ahead of that FOMC announcement. All the big players in the market, the people who actually move these markets around, they're already in or out, right? Or whatever. It's already priced in. So tomorrow is going to be all about price action setups. Again, catching counter trend traders, trading traps, trading failures, basically capitalizing on people who are trying to make something happen when there isn't something going on. That's where the money is made on that FOMC announcement. Now, tomorrow morning, we're going to be in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and I'm going to talk about some opportunities to kind of catch traders on the wrong side of the market. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, I would love to have you there, right there with us. You can come help me catch some traders, right, getting caught on the wrong side tomorrow. I'll put all the membership information you guys need, all the links in the description of this YouTube video. I'll also put a big button for you guys below me tonight on the trading blog. Grab that link. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock Eastern time in our trade room. So now we know kind of what the game plan is, right? Early in, early out. Don't expect huge changes we have already. Look to catch traders on the wrong side of the market. And that's exactly what we're looking for here, right, tomorrow on these charts. S&P, Nasdaq, gold is ready. Let's grab the S&P first. The S&P, the key takeaway right now, and we talked about the shorts right off the high last night. It was a relatively easy call to want to get short on this in last night's newsletter. The key takeaway on this today is it's a bear market. right? I don't think he might help to tell you that, into a trading range, right? So ranges, right? Ranges are magnets. Ranges are balanced markets. So think of a magnet right in the middle, right? What goes up will come back down. What goes down will oftentimes come right back up. So we want to kind of use that magnet, right? Kind of as our guide, if you will. Now, the most important part is as we go higher here, you'll notice we have a support trend line. Okay, and that support trend line is going, well, it can be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy. So the key is I want to sell up here, right? If I had it my way, I would get that short, right, up around these highs. This trend line, though, really kind of throws a bit of a curveball at us. So if I had it my way, I would get one of these kind of my two favorite trades right now would be a deep pullback to basically free up space away from that rising support trend line. When you get those deep pullbacks, though, what happens is it gives, in this case, the buyers a sense of they've got control of this market. And for the most part, it will be relatively bullish because even though it's above the top of the range, they're still rotating off the low, right? So if they go higher here, that's going to be a pretty strong bull move here. It's not a breakout. It's just a pullback at this point. But I still have to respect the buyers. And to do that, I'll let them try twice, right? We'll look for a failure pattern here, but I call these two-try failures. And when you have these two-try failures, there's two ways to take them short. One would be to sell right into stops, right, below that low, right? So you're waiting for the price to go up. You're waiting for buyers to try a couple times, and you're shorting right into those stop losses. Again, the idea is get far enough away from that trend line, but when you get that far away, you open the door for the buyers, right? That's one way to sell it. My favorite way to sell it is to draw a trend line off that high, right, and sell that trend line. So again, it's a failure pattern, but it's a two-try failure because, again, it requires a pop a little bit higher than normal. Now, we may not get that pop. We may not, because you'll notice I have a trend line across those highs. One of my favorite ways to trade ranges is to look for these kind of rising trend lines, right? And short those, right? And short those trend lines. The problem with that, though, is, as you can probably already imagine, is it doesn't give us a lot of open space. And so what you want to do is you want to use a trap entry, right? Traps are going to be your best friend on a shallow pullback, right? So shallow pullback, we're looking for a trap entry. Now, this trap entry ideally, right, will be just a little bit above that, right, that trend line. So think about a trap on that on a shallow pullback, right? Trap on that on a shallow pullback. So deep pullback failure, right? Shallow pullback trap. Now, what if the market runs up and runs going lower, right? If we push going lower here, this is where things get fun for the sellers here on the S&P. Because as you probably recall, right, we had that big range in last night's newsletter. We've marked up the amount above the range, and we've still got that low, right? That big push down, right? We call those the pendulum swings. There's a lot of ranges on this chart right now. You can definitely tell something's in the mix right now. FOMC is tomorrow. Had this market run higher, right? Ranges are what? They're magnets. We break out. We come right back pretty much into that range, right? We found a new range here today, which is very common, by the way. And if they can take this thing lower here, are they going to stop at these lows, you think? Yeah, they might bounce a little bit, but there's a good chance now the amount of the move up turns into the amount of the move down. So this is why I say this is where it kind of gets exciting for the bears. Get some big targets down there, 4,200, 42 3/4. So we definitely are excited about some shorts going lower here. The problem is, how do we do that though? Because again, right, this range is a magnet. There are two breakout patterns I'll be looking for tomorrow. Now, this could happen right now. It could go up and come back down. It's really it doesn't really matter to me. First breakout pattern would be a strong move down, a shallow pullback, and a higher high and a lower low in price, right? That's going to be what we call a two-try trap or a two-try breakout. What you want to do now is look for that trap high and sell above that trap. Okay? These are very, very common, especially when you spit out the other end of a trading range. Keep in mind, too, you can always draw a trend line off that low, trend line off that high. And I'll tell you, those are money, baby. Those are great setups. Again, we call them 2-try breakouts. It's a trap. It's a strong move down, a shallow pullback to the moving average, a lower low in price. Traps, baby, one of my favorite trades when we're spitting out the opposite side of a trading range. Now, what if we don't get that pullback, right? It's a very common question. What if we don't get that pullback? If we don't get that pullback, we get the move lower, the pullback to the moving average, and now it blasts going lower. Great question and very good problem to have, by the way, because now all of that momentum basically confirms 4,200 is on our radar. I'm going to mark up that low now. I'm going to mark up that high now, right? That creates a hidden channel. And then what you want to do is you want to find your first pullback, right? Repeat after me. The first test is always the best test. 1, 2, 3, break down. 1, 2, 3, break out. Whatever you want to call it. First test is the best test. Now, keep in mind, this is a 6,000 tick chart right now on the S&P 500. What I'll do is I'll drill down to a 1,000 tick chart, right? We'll use a faster time frame in our trade room, and I'll look for entry patterns like bull traps, buyer failures. Failures often then turn into pullbacks, and pullbacks turn into strength moves. Now, I can't go into all the small details of how I draw the channel and how I trigger the entries, the rules I use, but I'll tell you, if you want to learn more about the entry techniques and how we find all the stuff in our trade room, I cover all of those details in our Quick Start trading course. You'll learn all about how I trade every day with our clients in our trade room, the entire 3-step strategy, how we determine specific market conditions, finding support and resistance, and of course, using rules to trigger the best entries, right, to get our trade room. Grab that link. I'll put a little pop-up there for you in the upper right-hand corner there. Grab the Quick Start trading course. It'll be a nice shortcut for you to get started trading just like I do, right, every day with our best clients in our trade room. You're going to love that. You'll love that Quick Start course. It'll save you time and get you on the right track. And that way, the next time I say 1, 2, 3 breakout into first test or hidden channel pullback, you'll know exactly what I'm actually looking for to draw that channel and to find the entries. So now we know kind of how to trade this thing, right, as we break down. How do we buy this market right now, right? I'm sure you're probably wondering, okay, Joe, you mentioned reversals. How do we buy this market? Well, there's 2 basic ideas for a reversal right now. The one that I hope we get is what I call a bounce reversal. So imagine for a moment, we get that short off the high, we take out that low, right? And then we 1, 2, 3 reverse off of that low. That's what I call a bounce reversal. Again, I'm looking for a short off the highs right now. Okay, let's say we take out those lows afterwards, right? Then we see 1, 2, 3. What happens is moving average comes over, right? Buyers hold the pullback and they run. That strong run is gold. That's where you want to find that high, find that low, and again, repeat after me, 1, 2, 3 reversal into first channel test, right? Hidden channel pullback. Looking for trap entries, failure entries, pullback, strength entries coming in off of that low. And again, I go into those smaller details of how to draw the channels, right? And how to find the entry setups in that Quick Start trading course linked up in the upper right-hand corner. A bounce reversal, right, off of that low. That would be the easiest one. The second one is going to be the harder one. This one's going to require some patience. The reason why I say that is because we have to assume that with this rising support trend line, we have to assume this price is going to pull back. At some point, though, that pullback becomes a little bit too far, right, to be a pullback. And that's where the trouble comes in on this reversal. I don't want to get long up here, right? I don't want to get long too close to this range because, again, it's a very bear market into a trading range. And as I go higher here now, I don't want to get long too close because now I'm buying into the high. So it's very much kind of a thread the needle situation. Here's what you want to look for. What you'll see is you'll see the market go up, right? The bears will try a couple times and the market will jump. When it jumps like that, your job now is to find a trap entry, right? Traps are always the best. when you're only a few inches, right, away from some level of resistance. If you recall, right, I talked about traps on that shallow pullback earlier, right? It's the same reason. You use that trap because you don't want to sell into that rising support trend line. The hardest part about the move going higher here right now is going to be, I would like to get short on that first, right? But if we see those bears coming in and trying, but it keeps on holding, now you know we're not going back into that range, and for whatever reason, the market's making a run back up to retest those highs. At that point now, your job is to find a trap entry. What I would love to do is get some sort of like spike and channel up here, right, and grab that trap before we retest those highs here. That's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy. You got to wait for the bears to try to get short up here, and then wait for that pop, and then it's all about, can I get into this thing, right? Can I get into this thing before we retest those highs? Now be very careful up here once we get back around these highs, because, for all we know, it's a big level of resistance up here. For all we know, we might see it run up and then get one of those nested failures, those reversal patterns, right? Buyers trying once, buyers trying twice, mark that low, mark that high, right? And see us, right? That will be a fantastic short, right, off of that high. Same idea, right? We talked about that over here. We go up, buyers once, buyers twice. Remember that earlier, right? So don't be surprised if this thing runs up, takes that high out, buyers try a couple times, right? Once and twice, because again, you do want to respect that bullishness, and then once they get it, right, find their stops, either short that trend line, right, or shorten those stops here, right, back down into that trading range. There's a lot of different options here as we go higher here. I could go over a lot more here, but I'll put all the smaller stuff together tomorrow morning in our trade room. Now you get a pretty good idea though of what I'll be looking for tomorrow with our best clients tomorrow in the trade room. And again, I would love to have you there, right there with us. How about some Nasdaq here? Moving our way now over to the Nasdaq here tonight. The Nasdaq, as you can see, is bearish. This is a trending market right now. There is a range down there, right? You'll definitely can see that range. Not from yesterday, but from late last week, right? Last Friday, it was right around that rollover day, right? 13,960 is that range magnet. Now, you'll notice I've got some extra measured moves on here. Those are kind of just there to show you kind of what we're anticipating here. As I mentioned in the intro here, we're definitely bearish. There's no doubt about that. I've got the range down there acting like a magnet. The weekend gap still has not been retested yet. Again, weekend gap is a magnet. We saw that be used here on the S&P. We're bearish. We're trending. And whenever I have a trending market, I'm looking for pullbacks, right? Continuation trades. I'm looking for reversals. And I'm also watching for new ranges. Now, those are kind of the three things I'm always thinking about when I have a trending market, right? Looking for pullbacks, right? Or in this case, continuations, right? I'm looking for reversals, okay? So possible trend reversals, and I'm watching out for new ranges. Now, one thing you'll notice, no traps, right? No traps. This is always something that the best ones you can look for in these situations are when it's like 9:45, 10 o'clock, 10:15, there's no traps yet. This one is very dramatic. You'll notice as we go lower, none of these highs, right? None of these highs have been taken out yet. They got very close on that one, right? But they didn't get it done. So that swing is still there. That swing is still there. That swing is still there. This is the stuff that kind of gets you excited, right? Because you know that the minute we pull back into this, what I call my battle zone up there, once we pull back into that sell zone, right, where the buyers and the sellers go to battle for control, you have to think that's going to be seen as a big short selling opportunity here for those bears, right? So the fact that we're so bearish is definitely not a bull market right now. The fact that we've got no traps definitely tells me to look for kind of that trifecta, right? That kind of triple combination setup here. So what I would like to see tomorrow, if I had it my way, is I'd like to get us up above that high, get a trap into a failure, into a pullback combination. Now remember, I'm simply drawing on the chart right now, right? This is a 4,000 tick chart. You can see in the upper left-hand corner there. I'll drill down to a faster time frame, and I'll find those trap signals, those failure signals, and those pullback signals, right, as the market rolls over. Again, retest of that low is your target, but the big objective is to finish off this move back inside that magnet, right? So again, can we get up? Get that nice strong trap signal. Again, you'll learn about signals and how to find traps. You'll learn all about that stuff in our quick start trading course. Again, grab that link in the upper right hand corner, right? Do I get the trap? Remember, every trade has a signal. We don't just blindly sell this stuff, right? Trap setup. Buyers come in, right? Buyers try to buy the pullback off the moving average. Their stops are sitting right below those lows. And that's where I always get excited, right? Traps will get you in first. Failures will keep the party going. And then remember, these failures oftentimes turn into pullbacks, and those pullbacks lead to strength, right? So trap, failure, pullback, and you'll learn about strength trades, right, in that quick start trading course I keep talking about, right? So as we make that move lower, we could have potentially 4 really juicy trade setups on that pullback. A lot of this because of the combination of the lack of any really deep pullbacks today, along with that range magnet, right, waiting down below us. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if we don't get that deep pullback? If we don't get that deep pullback, what does that tell you? We're very aggressively bearish, right? So 2 patterns looking for. The one I would hope I would get, for example, right, if we only get the pullback like this, right, if it only pulls back like that, little bit too aggressive for me. I do want to get the top of this channel. We're bearish. I'd like to get that channel hit. If we don't, right, if we don't, and that's, I wouldn't be surprised. Nothing surprises me anymore, and you shouldn't be surprised either. If the market traps up and runs lower, now your job, now the bears are hunting, right? Now look for those aggressive traps as we go lower, right? Trap entry short above that prior swing, right? So if we don't make it all the way up to that high there, what does that tell you, right? There must be something like a range below us that's more important than a pullback right now. Sometimes you're waiting for a good pullback, you don't get it. And when it makes that run in our trade room, we call these turning into a runner, right? Turning into a runaway. In other words, it's not giving us that deep pullback. And when it snaps lower, we go, all right, well, cool. I'm going to short it as soon as I get a pullback. As soon as I get a trap, I'm going to get short on that, right? And what I'll usually do in my trade room is I'll cut my size in half, right? Cut my size in half and get aggressive on those entries, right? So if it goes lower without pulling back, that's your sign. There's something bigger going on right now. You want that trap, right, to get in. Really, whatever you can do to get in from there. And then again, if we don't get it, right, and the market just simply rolls over, right, and tanks, what does that tell you? It tells you a lot of momentum. Don't worry about being back in the range. You just worry about finding that channel and finding any entry set up to short that high, right? If we don't get that pullback and the market rolls over 1, 2, 3, okay, your job is, I'll tell you the same thing I tell my clients, your job is not to wonder why or where it's trying to go. Your job is to find a way in off that first pullback, right? And again, this is a 4,000 tick chart, right? I'll drill down to a faster time frame. I'll be definitely looking for traps, looking for failures into pullback combinations, et cetera, et cetera. You'll learn those entry techniques, right? You'll learn that stuff inside the Quick Start Trading course, right? So grab that link in the upper right-hand corner. So now you kind of know where, right, where I'd like to get short here as the market runs lower. Look at the pendulum swing for these bears, though. Now, we may not go all the way down to that tomorrow, but I'll tell you, by tomorrow afternoon, we might find ourselves halfway down the ladder, and the FOMC might give it the nudge it needs to make that run. How about the buy side here? Because I'll definitely tell you, if there's one thing that doesn't quite make sense in this chart right now, it's the fact that we didn't get back to the weekend gap. The S&P had no problems, right? Look at the S&P. The S&P went up, almost the same thing as the Nasdaq, right? The S&P went up. Right? Buyers try once, buyers try twice, collapse back down. They go back to the weekend gap. They pretty much go back into that range. So tell me, Nasdaq, why didn't you come back and join us at the weekend gap? Why didn't you go all the way back into that magnet? is there something I don't quite know, right? That's kind of the lingering thing. In fact, I double-checked a lot of things. What might be happening is I may have the wrong range. The range might be actually right there, and that might be what they were trying to do. Okay, that might be the situation here. But still, something definitely doesn't feel as bearish on the Nasdaq as it does on the S&P. So I do want to be prepared for a big break higher here. Now, keep in mind, right, if we break higher here right now, let's say, for example, right, we take out this high up here. You know, in all honesty, this whole area, right, this whole area is seen as a sell area. Remember, if we really rip higher here, give the buyers a couple swings on this, right? Let them try a couple times. This is just the S&P, right? Just like the S&P. If it really punches, back higher here, I want to sell it short. But if we really see a strong pullback, I'll let those buyers try a few times, and then I'll sell short right into those stops. And then don't forget, those deep pullbacks like that, draw that new channel right off that low, because now you've got all of that momentum and short that first pullback, right? So again, it's a two-try failure, right? Again, I want that trap into failure, into pullback going lower. I'm talking about if it really rips, right? If it really rips going higher here. Don't assume it's a bull market, right? You can look for that now. Buyers once, buyers twice. Again, draw that trend, draw that trend line. You know where those stops are now. The stops sitting right below those lows, right? All you gotta do is get short, right? Either off the trend line or into those stop losses. Then again, new channel coming down, faster time frame, right? Drill down in and find the entry off the high of that, right? So that's kind of what we're looking for here if we pop. Very similar to the S&P. But what if we pop up, right? What if the buyers hold that pullback and now we jump? Okay, momentum is now turned for the bulls. But now we have a problem. What's my problem? The high. Right? I don't want to buy way up there. And let's be honest, right? That high might not be as forgiving as we think it is, right? If you look closely at it, you can see there's that wick top up there. So I call these false tops, right? Or false bottoms. You can see that, right? It's not that difficult to see. So if we do get this strong move up, if the buyers can hold that pullback and go, what's my favorite entry when I'm concerned about location? Not momentum so much, traps, right? Traps are the go-to. So again, you want to find that channel, find that trap, right? And this is one of those scenarios where you might get lucky, right? Get that trap into failure, into pullback combination. Again, I go over those details in the quick start trading course, right? But that, again, right? That's the trap is what you want. The trap is what you want on this. And just like on the S&P, don't be surprised if they run this thing right up, and by late morning tomorrow, 10:15, 10:30, the buyers have tried once, the buyers have tried twice, right? There's this even better, right? Even better would be we go up, they fail, take the high out. See, this is when you know the short's getting good, right? If we went up, run into that kind of false top up there, if the buyers were to try once, the buyers are to try twice now you've got falling resistance, right? There, you've got trend line coming down there, right? That is a really, really juicy short there, right? Again, strong move up, so you want to give the buyers a few tries there, right? Then, of course, hit them, right? Then hit them. Draw that new channel. I mean, this could get really good here for those bears if they fail off that high, right? And I realize, again, my first job right now is 1, 2, 3, get that trap, right? 1, 2, 3, get that trap. If we have enough strength going higher here, and we haven't taken out at least that 44, 44 half area, you better believe people will be buying that trap. And I'll be there right there with them, right? Watching that trap there for that trigger. All right, guys? So now you got a pretty good idea, right, of kind of what I'm looking for. Don't forget also that bounce reversal, right? This could easily happen tomorrow. We could easily see this thing bounce, right? Go right again. We short the highs. They bounce off that low, and then what happens? We get that 1, 2, 3, those bounce reversals, right? I'm going to sell off the high, and then once I see it, 1, 2, 3 off that low, you got it, baby. Mark that high, mark that low. you can play both sides of these markets. Don't get me wrong, right? The key is don't get married to one direction, right? That's where we get in trouble. We say, I got to go short tomorrow. Well, yeah, go short tomorrow until the conditions change. And then you got to have the guts to flip your, or not flip your position, but flip your attitude or flip your mindset into, okay, the buyers now have control. Buy the next pullback. It's just the way you got to trade it. All right. Remember, tomorrow, smaller window, right? Smaller window here on the Nasdaq. Very excited with the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq definitely has me interested to see what's going to happen here in the next couple hours, because the fact they didn't get that weekend gap, right? They didn't get what the S&P did. So I'm definitely anxious to see what's going to come on the Nasdaq. And then the market that may be the most difficult for tomorrow, right, is the FOMC, because of the FOMC announcement, right? And I warned you guys about this, right? When we go into FOMC, gold is oftentimes a little bit, well, it's not a little bit, it's a lot more cranky, right? It's fussy. And so you got to be careful on the gold. Be very careful after 10 o'clock, 10:15, 10:30, right, tomorrow morning. Gold is always best early in the morning, and tomorrow is the day to be trading early in the morning, right? You don't want to be trading gold after noontime. I mean, you can do whatever you want, for crying out loud. It's your account, right? Or soon to be not your account if you go playing around with the FOMC announcement. All kidding aside, though, just be careful, right, around the FOMC announcement as we get later on the gold. What's the most important takeaway right now on the gold? Well, the most important takeaway right now is a combination of failed rotation and strength. Okay, those are the two most important kind of pieces of this puzzle. As I mentioned in last night's newsletter, we had that bull market into a trading range, right? And just like clockwork, we see bears try to take it lower, bears get short, and buyers come in and pick their pockets, right? I mean, this is exactly what we talked about in last night's newsletter. Now, what we did not talk about in last night's newsletter was how those buyers would then fall asleep on us and they would not complete their rotation. Remember, what is a range? A range is a magnet, right? The amount we go below the range there, think of the range like a balance, right? It's a balanced area. When the market moves below the range of the bull market, we should have the momentum now to spring back up in the opposite side. That did not happen. That's why I say it's kind of the first big clue. Now, you'll notice, right, the buyers kept on trying. They tried again, but apparently after a while, the buyers ran out of ammunition, and you can see the market takes off the downside. It doesn't just drop, right? It drops and holds and runs. What do we call that again? 1, 2, see that? 1, 2, 3 reversal, right? 1, 2, 3 breakout. Now, what do we do after a breakout like this? We start to find levels of resistance that I can now look to sell short at, right? The bears have control right now. From what we know at this point, this range is no more, right? This range, it's still there, don't get me wrong, right? But again, failed rotation and that strength, right? That strength tells us right now there's a big bullseye right on that low of day, right? That's that big low from yesterday's big bloodbath, right? Move down. Now again, tomorrow's FOMC day, so I'm do my best to anticipate this, but again, this market can be a little bit squirrely. It can do things it would normally do in the lead up to that big news here. So we are bearish right now, and I want to get short here. I want to sell at resistance. If I had it my way tomorrow, I would look for the same basic idea we talked about the Nasdaq, right? Strong move down, shallow pullback, lower low. Can I get a trap into a failure, into a pullback combination? I mean, that would just be the best situation possible, right? Can I get that trap, right? Again, trap above a prior swing, failure. Again, buyers come out, try to buy the pullback, failure, and then, of course, pullback combination. Now, as mentioned in the Nasdaq, right, that those pullbacks oftentimes from the strength, right? So trap, failure, pullback, strength signal. Again, guys, don't forget, this is a 1500 tick chart, right? I'm going to drill down to like a 377 tick chart on the gold and look for those entries. And again, right, I do not expect you to know all this stuff on your own. I cover all the details of how to find support and resistance, how to know what a range or a trend looks like, how to trigger the entries. I cover all that stuff in our Quick Start trading course, right? If you want a shortcut to start trading like I do every day in the trade room, that quick start trading course is definitely where you want to be. You'd be foolish not to grab a copy of that quick start course, especially if you're not getting consistent results yet in these markets. You're going to love it. Everybody loves it. Anyways, I want to sell short. Now, you'll notice though, I've got this trend line overhead. Now, this would be a good one too. If we really pop up, right? Now, what's my problem though? Yeah, momentum's a little bit stronger. So what do we do now? We give the buyers the benefit of the doubt. Let them try twice. 2 try failure. 1 try for the bulls, 2 try for the bulls. Their stops are sitting right below that low now. Do I get lucky with the trend line? Right? Trend line. Do I get really lucky with a trap? You know, traps are probably the best possible way to take that trade, right? Trap entry, right? Failure entry. Again, trap entry off that little high, right? Failures in the stop losses, and then mark that low. You got it, right? Mark that high, and then short that high, right? Short that high. Again, trap entry, maybe trap, maybe not a trap, right? Again, off that trend line, off that high there, failure entry, and again, failure trap pullback entry in the faster time frame off the high of that channel. Okay, those will be great, right? Those will be great. Now, what if we don't get that? What if we don't get that pullback? Right? What if the market says, I can't do it, and we go lower? What does that mean? Run away, baby, run away. Something's up, right? Something's up. Any trap I can get my hands on right now is now I'm looking for. And again, when I get these kind of runaway markets, I take off my patience hat and I put on my whatever it takes, get me in hat. And what I mean by that is I shift my mindset from patience to get me in. And because of that, I like to cut my size in half so I can be confident that if I grab the first trap and it fails on me, I hit it again. Right? So it turns into a very aggressive situation, and I have to respond by that, right? It's one of the hardest parts about trading, to be honest with you. It's taken me a long time to learn that technique, right? Because most of the time you want to be patient, discipline. But when you don't get pullbacks, when markets do things that normal trends wouldn't do, you have to kind of switch your mindset, right? You go from being patient trader to being get me in whatever I can get, whatever pullback, whatever trap. I like traps, right? Traps are always my bread and butter in the trade room. So again, trap high as we go lower, or I mentioned earlier, we have, look at the space we have below that low. If they can crack below that low, we have it's huge down there. There's a lot of open space down there, down to 1815, right, 1810. The biggest challenge we're going to get here is, can I get this thing to run low? Can I get this thing to hold a pullback, right, and go through that low? If that's the case, mark that low, mark that high, and you know me, right? Whatever it takes, find a way in on that first pullback. I'm not going to sell the first one, right? I'll grab a trap on the first one, right? As we go lower, I will gladly take a trap, right? Traps will be, again, your bread and butter down here, because momentum isn't the problem, it's location. Right? It's location. Location's the problem. So traps are your go-to, right? And don't be afraid either. Mark up that new low, mark up that high, right? Extra bonus points, extra winning percentages, right? By incorporating that off a new channel, right? So I'll be looking for that as we go lower. If we slam lower, wouldn't be surprised here. We slam lower, we sit, we grind, bam, right? Big move down, perfect. Mark that low, mark that high, right? I'm not going to try to predict that breakdown. We're not trying to predict that breakdown. You'll go broke trying to predict which one will break out. Don't make that rookie mistake anymore, right? Mark that 1, 2, 3, and again, grab that short off the high there. Right? And again, drill down to a faster time frame, bull traps, buyer failures, right? Into pullback combinations, right? Off of that high. So what will we get on the short side tomorrow, or will this market turn bullish? How would you buy this? How would you buy this market? Well, one way to buy it would be a 1, 2, 3 reversal. So one thing, right? One way it goes lower here, I can also, the same thing going higher, right? So once we see that move up, let's say buyers hold that pullback, right? And we blast higher here. Now you've got that big pendulum swing. Now you get the pendulum swing targeted way up there, right? Plenty of open space now for that one. Okay, in fact, you could probably go out and say, okay, there's a trend line up there too, right? So lots of great spots up there. I, of course, don't want to buy that first one though, right? I want to buy the second one. Mark up that high, mark up that low, and again, we're buying that first pullback, right, off the low of that channel. I know, it's difficult. It's tough. I don't want to miss that first pullback either. But right now, the buyers are in control. If this is a bull market, I would take that. If it was a bull market, I would take that pullback, that first pullback. But we're not a bull market right now, right? Failed rotation, start going lower. Buyers have to prove to us, right? The buyers have to prove to us right now, get up above, hold that pullback, right, and go. If they can get that jump, now again, measure that distance, back above the highs, and you know it. You know now where they're trying to go. Your job now, find your way in before you get there. And if it really rips, don't forget, look for traps, right? If it really races higher and that pullback is way up here, right? What do? Look for trap entries, right? Look for trap entries. Now, how about a bounce reversal? Yeah, a bounce reversal is totally doable right now. Let's say, for example, right, we get that trap, right? Trap, failure, pullback. We go down, we take out those lows, right? Great job, right? Make some money on the way lower. Then 1, 2, go. Bingo, right? Bounce reversal. Again, we're not going to turn the first pullbacks. We're not bullish at that point. Okay, that pullback fails most of the time. But if they hold that pullback, 1, 2, 3, bouncing off that low, now we've got that momentum turning. Now mark up the high, mark up that low, and you got it, right? First test is always the best test, right? Buying off that low. All right, guys? So again, we got a lot of potential here on the gold tomorrow. I just hope the gold isn't a bloody mess. You know, that's the only concern I have on the gold here, and I mentioned why earlier. So be careful on the gold, early in, early out, again for tomorrow. And again, remember, save your bullets, right? Save your bullets because Reaction Thursday is coming there quickly afterwards. So don't forget, every morning, Monday through Friday, we'll be here all week this week in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time. You got to come out and do it with us, right? There's no books you can read. You can read as many books. You can watch as many of these videos as you want, but there's nothing I can do to really prepare you for doing it right there while the markets are moving. That's why our trade room is such a valuable part of our learning community. You got to come out and join us every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'll put all the links you guys need to get registered. I'll put them in the description of the YouTube channel, the video here. I'll put a big blog button for you here below the video tonight on the trading blog. Hit that button, grab that link, get registered. Don't be afraid to call the office, right? Don't let my ugly mug scare you away, right? Call that toll-free phone number. We're always here to help out if you guys need help. I got live chat on the left, live chat on the right, and you can always drop questions in the comment section if you guys have them along the way. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know I'm late here tonight, so I apologize for keeping you waiting here, but I think it was worth it, wasn't it? It was worth it tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning at the opening bell. If not, we'll come back and do it again tomorrow night, right? Same time, same place. Get ready for Reaction Thursday in tomorrow night's video. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. Be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? And be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.